Alright, future me, digital me. Alright, so, America. Two o'clock, 10:09, blah, blah, blah. This channel is not going well. I need views. Give me views. Give me views or give me a hand job. Give me liberty or give me death. No. Anyways, the New Deal. Yes. All right. This is the AI overview, by the way. Historians are better. Talk to your, for kids, if any kids see this video, next time you go into your history class, say, I want to learn about the New Deal. And if they say, all right, that we're going to cover that in 3 months, just be like, okay, I'm going to read about that now while you're talking. And open up your big ass history book and go look to it and read to that, because you all need to know about that. But the Civilian Conservation Corps hired hundreds of thousands of young men for public conservation work, including reforestation and flood control. I talk about that in other videos, so whatever. That's like stuff for repairing. I always mention mountaintop mining, but so whatever. Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. It restored public confidence in the banking system by insuring bank deposits. I'm sure we could do shit like that. We could do stuff to beef up people's incentive and investment in the stock market so that regular Americans could actually have stocks instead of just rich people. And that's just one aspect of stuff. Agricultural Adjustment Act paid farmers to reduce crop production, which helped stabilize and increase agricultural prices. Well, we could just, I would suggest stuff to, we have an agriculture department, so whatever. We don't really need to, I don't think we need to mess around too much with the agriculture department, but whatever. National Recovery Administration, the NRA, established codes for industries to regulate wages, hours, and trade practices, though it was later found unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Established codes for industries to regulate wages, hours, and trade practices. Tennessee Valley Authority provided flood control, electricity generation, and economic development to a large impoverished region. That was the first New Deal. The second New Deal was WPA, the Works Progress Administration. This the largest New Deal agency. It employed millions of Americans on public works projects, building roads, bridges, and public buildings, as well as funding arts programs. Social Security Act. I don't think that's really necessary to explain. The NLRA, which they just fucking totally destroyed. Guaranteed workers' right to unionize and bargain collectively. The Fair Labor Standards Act set a minimum wage and maximum 40-hour work week and outlawed child labor. Yep. So, pretty basic stuff, at least basic now. But yeah, some obvious crap that I was arguing for. But yeah, it's pretty much just shit that I've been talking about doing forever. Since I started blabbing about easy ways to fix the country, update stuff, the particulars of which are stuff I don't know. I don't really want to get into, because the reason I don't want to get into the particulars of it is because I think private industry, someone in private industry or someone not in private industry would be like, oh, that's a good idea. I can make money off that. And be like, no, I don't want you to make money off that. I want to make a better world off that, you dipshit. I want to make a world where everybody has free everything, not where everybody in the world has to pay for everything. All right? I want everything to be free, particularly everything that is necessary for living. All right? And I want to have a country where you don't have to pay anything for your water, your electricity, your house, your food, any of that shit. If you want a diamond ring, you're going to have to pay for that shit. All right? Fuck you. All right? As long as we use money for anything, if you want a diamond ring or a gold chain, you're paying for that. All right? The government is not going to pay for that. You know? So that's stuff you're going to pay for. If you want a basic bottom of the line shirt, you're going to pay for that. If you want like a really fancy shirt or like a really fancy like wedding dress or something like that, you're paying for that too. But if you want to get married in like your regular clothes, go for it. That's fine. I need a wedding dress to get, you know what the fuck stuff. All right. Do you love each other? Why do you need to get dressed up to get married? You were lucky enough to find someone that you actually love. Consider that a fucking win. I can tell you from experience, you won the lottery, all right? So you don't need like to be all extravagant and have fucking dress and shit, all right? You already won. You won $1 billion already, all right? You're in the winner's circle. Everybody else that's at the wedding that isn't already married and stuff, you don't need to be like, oh, by the way, I'm in my Lamborghini and I'm going to run my Lamborghini into my private jet. Yeah, you need to rub it in their face 3 times. Yeah, that's just a little, you know. And then you're wondering why people are drinking at your wedding and saying fucked up shit. And you're like, oh, he ruined my wedding. Yeah, of course they ruined your wedding, bitch. You found a good ass husband that loves you and is going to be with you for the rest of your life. Allow them to ruin one night. Shit. They're going to be single and miserable for the next 45 years. Give them that one night. That special night is for them, not for you. Jeez. Haven't you figured that out yet? Anyway, whatever. The New Deal. The New Deal, see, it puts America, you tax the shit out of the people that have money, you give it to the government, and you don't give that government money to like the Pentagon or something. No, you give that government money to works programs, and those works programs go to things like I just said, bridges, highways, blah, blah, blah. But also, I would add a new layer to that. Things like next generation housing. This is my favorite kind of thing that I have in my brain. Next generation housing, which is like, I would say something like 5 or 10 plus story housing, that has single and multi person. So units for a single person. Okay, let me go through this section by section because my brain is wanting me to try and do too much shit. That's how my brain works. It's just like a fucking... Okay, units for one person that is not going to pay anything. One person that is just not going to pay anything, and it's going to be like a fucking closet. I'm just describing it. I'm not giving specific dimensions here. One unit for a person that's just going to be like a fucking closet. It's just going to be a place to live, and it's going to be maybe the size of this room, and it's going to have a living space, a place, a bathroom, and a place to cook stuff. And what else do you need? I don't think there's anything. And then there's going to be laundry services in the building because you don't need anything like that. I don't know. Maybe in these buildings, I mean, I don't know. That would be a little disgusting, wouldn't it? To have a communal shower. It would be disgusting for the person that would have to clean the communal shower. So, I don't know. We could have a discussion about that as a society. I don't think I would want to use them. Personally, I wouldn't want to use a communal shower. So I'm going to say no on the communal shower. So if I wanted to live there, I'm going to nix the communal shower. But a place to cook stuff and a bathroom, a shower and a toilet and a sink. So pretty much a studio like this size. That's it. No bigger than this size. Now, it could be smaller. The actual space for this, like this space, not the bathroom part and what would be the kitchen, but just this space could be like half this size. Because you're going to be living there for free, on the dole of the taxpayer or whatever. But it'll be free. Free for life. So it'll be, I don't know what the dimensions of this fucking thing are. It's going to be free. And we'll build a lot of those. So that's the first kind of unit that there's going to be. And then there'd be units for, like the one that's in here where it's this space for like your bed, for your sleeping space. Another one for your living space. And then kitchen. And then the bathroom, right? Right? So there's that. And then the 2-bedroom version of that for a family, for a small family. And you can always be flexible with the other kinds of things. And when building those, It depends. If by then we don't use money in the society more, then whatever. You just apply for it and then you live there. Um, if we're flexible on the rates because we're building. We're building a shitload of them because we've contracted firms. We've contracted architectural firms out in every region to build region-specific designs because every region has different different needs, different environmental and whatever needs based on many factors. There's a lot of different factors to consider when you're going to be building something like that. So you have to decide on what you're going to be doing. But yeah, you make it free, and a lot of people would have. Again, let me just nip this. Just address the concern beforehand. People would be like, the main concern people have, well, you're offering free housing. Well, of course I am. I'd say yes. Yes to free housing. Free for the end person. Because we have to get rid of the homeless population. The best way to get rid of the homeless population is to give them homes. And the best way to give homeless people homes is to not charge them. And, well, they're drug addicts and criminals and stuff. Well, they're going to have to find other ways to deal with that. We'll have to increase. We're always going to have to increase policing. We're going to have to increase the community outreach and the mental health services and the it would be helpful if you would offer the homeless people the ability to, once they get into the homes, you offer them the ability to take on some of the jobs that are in the area. If you offer them the job. Now, the homeless people have been homeless for a while, so once you're homeless for a while, you're going to pick up some oddities about you, I assume. Amongst, if you weren't a drug addict, you might pick up being a drug addiction type of person. Or, I don't know. I've never been homeless, but I knew a guy that was homeless. I don't know if he was a drug addict before he was homeless, or he became homeless and then he was a drug addict. But he said he did that. So, whatever. And he bitched about tweakers all the time. He would always bitch about tweakers. He was a drug addict and he would always be bitching about tweakers. Oh, goddamn tweakers. So, I don't know. I do know that, being a drug addict, you gotta just, it's an addiction, and you can't just, you gotta treat the problem and you gotta just keep taking a whack at it, and just chop it down, and until the thing is solved, you gotta just keep on whacking at it until you fix the problem. And that's what you got to do. And you can't give up on, just don't give up on the person, basically. And it'll resolve eventually, unless, I don't know, you just have hope, basically. And yeah. And also, this weaves into another subject, the healthcare subject. It'd be nice if we could give these homeless people, because I'm betting a lot of them have fucked up teeth, get them teeth. Free teeth, because they're going to need good teeth in order to get decent food and stuff. So get them free teeth. All right. I am basically not getting teeth because my sister's given me guff over this for many years. I just really think I'm going to be able to get actual teeth instead of dentures or implants. I don't like the idea of implants. I think I don't know, I just think they're bullshit. I think I probably would have been able to get implants years ago if conservatives and religious people would have been allowing fetuses to be harvested and studied, fetal tissue to be, whatever it is about fetal tissue, the stem cells. You're like, well, it's being thrown away anyways. Just take the stem cells and use them for study. I think maybe we could have done something with that. Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe we could have had soft and hard tissue regeneration by now, and I could have had my fucking teeth that I was waiting for. On the other hand, maybe then we'd have fucking old people living much longer, and that would be very bad. Because, the one thing about old people is almost none of them change their viewpoints on shit. And it's like, okay, if you don't want to change your viewpoint on something and your viewpoint is correct, then that's fine. But if your viewpoint is fucking wrong and it's not getting changed, then you are a fucking stupid person. Alright? And you're not fucking letting new information come in. Alright? So, you need to die. Alright? You need to just die and do us that favor of just dying off. And that's just, I don't know. It's just messed up. Why is it that old people can't seem to, for the most part, the overwhelming majority of old people are just like, goddamn. It's just like, dude, it's obvious that this is better. And I'm not talking about technology because, for me, Twitter came out and I was 20 or something, and I still don't fucking use Twitter, basically. And that is an old social media thing. I basically don't use Twitter. I use it a little bit, but I basically don't use it. I would still be using Facebook if somebody hadn't hacked the fuck out of it and shut me out of it altogether. I would still be using Facebook, but that was the final straw. I was like, I don't really like using it, but I just use it because I spam the fuck out of it with my fucking random, ridiculous fucking shit, my rage posting. That's what I was doing on Facebook. I was rage posting the shit out of Facebook. Fuck these fuckers and fuck. Just it was a good place. It was a way for me to vent into the universe before I started making YouTube videos. And now I put it out here for everybody to see. Um, but yeah, Twitter is the only one is the newest version that I use. And there's like, I don't know, a billion newer ones that I'm like, the latest one that I saw was called Kick. And I'm like, what the fuck is Kick? And so I look at it and it's like, oh, it's a competitor to Twitch. And like the difference is, oh, they take 5% instead of 50% for Twitch. And I'm like, Twitch takes 50% of the revenue? Damn, that is a fucking lot of whatever the person makes in. Like, I'm surprised no one came along sooner to try and upend that. That's a big chunk. It's kind of hard to undercut 5%. I mean, you could go down to like 2 or 3, but if Kick achieves you know, market lead, then it's going to be bad. Fortunately, they were like, Kick has received criticism because, you know, right wing and extreme blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, so there's like some Nazis and stuff on there, is what you're saying. Like, freakazoids are on Kick. Like the rise of right-wing social media. If you want to be a douche and hate on motherfuckers, come to our right-wing social network. It's called Bitches. Why don't you just sit in the corner and suck some dick and then make me a sandwich? Right-wing social media. Back when things were great in the 1950s, when bitches knew how to behave. Actually, let's go back to 1919, when they couldn't even vote. Maybe even earlier than that, when you could just beat them with whatever the hell you wanted. Yes, that's even better. A good mix of feudal age societal culture and norms with modern age technology. And as I said, I don't know, maybe just spewing out to the universe. I never know if I say this in other videos, but that's not really the way things work. You can't really have one foot in the past and one foot in the present trying to step more and more into the future. Like, you're gonna break in half at some point. You just are. And also, the rest of the fucking world is marching forward with both feet. And, you're going to have to make a decision on what world you want to be in. At some point, you're going to have to make a decision where, when you want to be. So I hope you're ready to make that decision. Anyways, I started this with New Deal, but as always, I tend to go in other places. That's my New Deal thing. I hope everybody understands, what I'm talking about, at least in the first part. And I also hope that you like where I went from it after the New Deal. Anybody that watches it, which is probably going to be zero. So it's anywhere from 0 to infinity, or 9.5 billion. Um, and yeah, I don't know if anyone understands the housing thing that I laid out, but it ends with free housing. I don't know, whatever. Basically, they're apartment buildings. I don't know. I could try and lay it out a little more coherently, but yeah, you know, they're more update. I don't know, whatever. I think I did it in another video somewhere, but I now by now I've put out so many videos that I don't even know where it would have been. So there you go, bro. There's a new deal. Enjoy. Tax rich people, kneecap them, and boobs.